Happy Saturday, everybody. This is your friendly neighborhood doc, and I just wanted to do a short little retrospective on Wizard 27 that I picked up earlier this week. It looks like it's got Jim Lee and company speak out about the Wildcats, Alan Moore does an in-depth review, and Dan Jurgens talks about Superman Doomsday Rematch, which ended up being Superman Doomsday Hunter Prey. So this is actually from November, well, it's cover dated November 1993. This is back when Wizard was a big deal. This is the magazine. This is where you find all the information. This is before the internet. This is before anything like that had come out. So you get to see all these ads. It's similar to previews, but they charged premium for ad space. You have the Ultraverse here with Aaron Lopresti artwork. You have Spawn, almost monthly from Image. You get in-depth reviews where they're talking about, let's see, The Big Guy and Rusty the Robot by Frank Miller and Jeff Darrow. They talk about Eclipse Comics. They talk about DC Comics. They talk about what's coming out each and every month. You get this Marvel Vision, and it says this is the hottest Marvel titles that are coming. You have X-Men 2099, the Marvel Masterworks 26, which features Journey into Mystery or Thor 101 through 110. Man, I used to pour through these things. I used to I would drink up every bit of information I could find in these magazines. I always knew what was coming out, felt like I was on top of things. Bleeding Cool and some of the other websites, CBR, Newsarama, those sort of things, you know, they're clickbait. They get the information out there, but they have their own agenda. Wizard had its own agenda too, because it pushed Image extremely hard for the first 2 or 3 years to really get Image out there. But, oh, that's funny. Hey, look, it's Taboo. And this is the in-depth Alan Moore article that they were talking about by William Christensen and Mark Seifert. But these magazines came from a time where you didn't have the internet, that you could just go click on a website and it would tell you what was coming out. You couldn't go to the previews website and check it out. You might have been able to at that point, but I'm sure it was very basic in 93. Here's the Dan Jurgens article talking about the rematch between Doomsday and Superman. There's Stormwatch, number 6. I don't have up to that issue yet, I don't believe, but we have a cover by Scott Clark with inks by Trevor Scott. This thing is just a time capsule. And I've enjoyed the heck out of going back and rereading it and seeing all of the old ads, seeing what books were coming out at what point. You know, you're up to Detective Comics almost 1100, and here you are at number 669. John Byrne's Next Men. Adventures of Superman. Wolverine number 76. X Factor. You've got all these. Sandman was still going on through DC and Vertigo. It was a different time. And here's the Wizard price guide that everybody always fondly, not so fondly, remembers. The cool thing about this magazine is this issue actually has a gatefold cover. So you get to see the whole art by Jim Lee and Scott Williams. I think some of them actually had like a double gatefold cover that it was on the back as well. But this was more than just a fanzine. This had artistic and journalistic integrity at one point. Later on, Frank Miller would come out and pretty much, you know, light one on fire at a convention, saying it was a piece of crap. And at one point it became so. But to begin with, I think Gareb Shamus and company had good intentions. They really did want to be at the forefront of this new pop culture revolution with Todd McFarlane and Image and Valiant and Defiant and all of these smaller publishers that had come out. They wanted to cover Marvel and DC because that's what everybody was reading, just like it is today. But they also wanted to make sure that everybody got to find these Image titles, got to find all of their Bone issues, Sandman, Starman, all of these things. So if you ever run across one of these issues or a couple of these issues in the dollar bins and you get a chance, just go back and check it out. I mean, it's not going to hurt anything. You can go back and find what I've found as I've gone back and collected a good chunk of this magazine when I can find it, is you go back and you rediscover books that you read 30 years ago and you forgot about. You completely forgot that they had come out. So you go back and find some old favorites. Then you also have Mortal Kombat. You get giveaways. You have advertisements for Gen 13, which at one point was Gen X, and it's by Jeffrey Scott, not J. Scott Campbell, and Alex Garner. But, man, this thing really brings me back to a time when I was, I guess I would have been about 12 at that point. And it really gives you something to be excited about. It gives you nostalgia. It lets you know who the top creators were at any given time. It lets you know what was important, what books were hot. You have Spectre by John Ostrander and Tom Mandrake. You have Nightman and Prime in the Ultraverse. Prophet #2 by Rob Liefeld and Dan Panosian. You get the top 10. You always have the top 10 hottest artists and writers. So you've got Peter David, you've got Todd McFarlane, Jim Lee, Sam Keith. So like I said, guys, if you can go out and find some of these issues dirt cheap for, $1 or $2, $3, go back and check it out. And you'll get an idea, if you weren't alive and collecting during that time, you'll get an idea of exactly how good, especially during the first 2 or 3 years, I would say, that Wizard was, and exactly where it fit into the market. Anyway, guys, hope you have a great weekend, and we will see you in the next video. Everybody take care.